Naughty, naughty.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no.
Naughty, naughty. Naughty, naughty. You naughty girl.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
English words and Indian and Korean accents.
영어 단어, 인도 발음, 한국어 발음. 첫 번째,
Number 1, better.
better. We're laughing.
Number 2, can't.
Can't.
Number 3,
세 번째,
don't tell me what to do.
don't tell me what to do.
Number 4,
네 번째,
naughty.
naughty, naughty. naughty, naughty. Naughty, naughty. You naughty girl.
Now, let me make something clear from the start. This isn't about dragging Amy. This isn't a takedown. This isn't a cancel her campaign. Honestly, I don't even think she fully understood the weight of what was happening in that video. But what followed the comment sections, the Reddit threads, the cultural arguments, that's where things got messy. And honestly, that's where things got interesting. Amy Flamy, a beauty influencer and creator with a massive young audience, posted a short TikTok, a simple challenge video. She and her friend tried pronouncing English words in Korean and Indian accents. When Amy Flamy posted her accent challenge with a friend, it was meant to be lighthearted. English words, a Korean accent, an Indian accent, laughter. The issue wasn't just the joke. It was the reaction. Not the reaction to the video, but the reaction to the reactions. Viewers immediately noticed something. Amy wasn't just playing along, she was laughing hard at the fake Indian accent. And to make everything worse, the friend attempting the accent? She isn't Indian.
The thing is, her friend is not even Indian. And the way that she was laughing, it triggered a lot of people in the comment section saying that she was making fun of people who has Indian.
She's Sri Lankan creator named Shoma who grew up in South Korea, and a lot of her online style reflects that. People often called her a huge Korea boo, leaning heavily into Korean trends, slang, and aesthetics. Some commenters now accuse her of acting like she has an accent from a country she isn't from, arguing that you can't naturally pick it up if you weren't born there. Now, if you're outside of South Asian communities, that might sound like a small detail, but it's not. India and Sri Lanka have different cultures, different languages, different histories, and a long, complicated political relationship. So when a Sri Lankan girl is performing an exaggerated Indian accent, and then the creator with millions of followers laughs the hardest at that part, people noticed and the laughter felt pointed.
So Amy Flamy and then this other brown girl TikToker in Korea make a video about accents, like Korean accents, Indian accents. Keep in mind the brown girl's not even Indian, and every time they say any of like the normal Indian words, the two of them burst out laughing. But whenever they say the Korean words, it's like just normal. And like every time she does the Indian accent, it's like forced and like the head nodding. Like it's just stereotypical, like too much. And like it's fine if it was like tasteful, but it's clearly not, and it's just plain old racist. Like this is mean girl behavior, which is crazy because a couple weeks ago when Akash Singh's like wife and her friend made a podcast about their opinions on like brown girl TikTokers, all the like girls with platforms like brown girls were like, that's mean girl behavior, this, that, and the third, like y'all suck, blah, blah, blah. But like with actual mean girl behavior, the girls with the platforms are mad quiet.
In under an hour, the clip exploded with furious comments calling out mockery behavior, which pressured Amy Flamy to delete the video. By the time the video was deleted, it had already gathered 2 million likes, but you know how the internet works. If something gets 2 million likes, it's already carved into the digital stone tablets of TikTok. The comments section became a war zone, and not just the usual internet chaos, something more revealing, more emotional, more personal. The comment section instantly split into two opposing sides. You had people saying, to be fair, it was the Sri Lankan girl mocking the Indian accent. Amy was just reacting. Why did Amy choose to make a video comparing the accents in the first place? And why did she use the Indian flag emoji for a girl who isn't even Indian? And why did she laugh only when the Indian accent was being mocked? Some people said, relax. Everyone laughs at accents. And it's not that deep. But the other half was furious. They said Amy was being careless, tone-deaf, and ignoring the fact that her audience is mostly kids. And honestly, they weren't wrong. If you're laughing at a stereotyped Indian accent in front of millions of young followers, you're basically telling every fourth grader watching that mocking their Indian classmate's voice is just a harmless joke. A user said, why is it that some communities get immediate, explosive protection online while others are told to relax? Why do accents tied to some cultures get labeled as harmless fun, while others get treated like sacred ground? Why does the internet choose which cultures deserve protection? Why do some groups get empathy, while others get told it's not that deep? When her audience reacted, the split became painfully clear. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about Amy. It was about hierarchy, who the internet protects, who the internet ignores, and why. The Amy video didn't create that problem. It just exposed it. People weren't arguing about the video anymore. They were arguing about the invisible scoreboard of who gets empathy. Some people genuinely didn't see the problem. Maybe because they've never been mocked for their accent. Maybe because they grew up in places where teasing was just teasing. Maybe because they've never felt that sting. And because the internet can never stay focused on a single situation, suddenly, Tyler Oliveira got pulled into the conversation too. Out of nowhere, someone commented, and not in a subtle way either, "Dude, you guys should be going after people like Tyler Oliveira. He basically nuked your reputation with that coverage of the cow dung festival." And honestly, they weren't wrong, because let's talk about that for a second. Tyler's video wasn't just cultural commentary. It wasn't fun travel content. It was the kind of video that exists specifically to get reactions. A Western creator filming a rural Indian festival, not with curiosity, not with cultural respect, but with that signature, "Look at this weird thing," narrative that Western influencers have been milking for years. People found it reductive. People found it sensationalized. Some Indians were embarrassed. Some were angry. Some were completely unfazed. But the internet talked, and not in a good way. So when Amy got into trouble for laughing at an Indian accent, a lot of South Asians were, "Hold on, you're lighting her up for laughing, but you went silent when Tyler made a whole documentary-style roast?" Another person shut that down pretty fast. Well, it's because Tyler is known for that kind of content. But Amy is a beauty influencer with a younger audience. And that right there is the heart of the issue. Because with Tyler, people expect the edginess. They expect the borderline disrespect, the shock humor, the culture poking, the strange thing, travel content. That's the brand he built. People either love it or hate it, but they're not surprised when he crosses a line. Amy, on the other hand, she wasn't supposed to be that person. She wasn't supposed to be someone laughing at a stereotypical accent. She wasn't supposed to be someone amplifying mockery to an audience of literal children, kids who haven't even developed the emotional intelligence to understand when a joke becomes a jab. But for many others, this Amy situation wasn't just a video. It was a memory, a wound, a reminder of every classroom moment where someone mimicked their parents' voice just to get a laugh. For many immigrants, their accent is the one thing they can't hide even if they want to. When it becomes a punchline, people feel like they are the punchline too. Adults might know the difference between laughing at a joke and mocking someone. Children don't, especially kids who look up to influencers. If someone they admire laughs at a fake accent, they'll copy it without questioning it. So even if Amy didn't mean to be harmful, the effect still mattered.
Like, why? Like, why are you quiet when there's actual mean girl behavior? Like, this is the stuff you should be calling out. And I see so many non-Indian TikTokers that are calling it out. Like, it should be Indian people defending Indian people. Like, those are accents you grew up with, hearing from your mom, dad, like cousins, grandparents, like people you just grew up with, and like they're making fun of it and no one's apologized about it, but they took the video down so they know it's tone deaf. But like the girls with the platforms are like pretty quiet. So like that doesn't make sense, because like that podcast wasn't even problematic. Like they're just giving their opinions, and like the opinion was like their opinion, and if you don't agree with it, like don't watch their podcast. Like, but that wasn't mean girl behavior. This is actually mean girl behavior, and y'all are mad quiet. Like, why does it have to take other people from other cultures or races to defend Indian people and not our own people? Like, that's crazy. Like, I don't know. But yeah, like, and I don't even think those two girls even apologized for their tone deaf video. They just took it down. So like that's just we're on their behavior too. So whatever.
Under pressure, Amy finally released an apology video saying she didn't mean to offend anyone, she didn't understand the impact, and she was sorry. She also hinted that racism feels like a heavy word to be associated with, almost as if what happened couldn't possibly fall under it. But that's exactly why people pushed back.
Hi girlies, let's talk about this video. So as some of you guys know, this video has been getting attention because in the video, it seemed like I was making fun of Indian accent. Firstly, about the part where I seemed like I was laughing during the accent comparison. During the shoot, I was trying to keep the mood light and fun. And even though it wasn't shown in the final cut, my laugh was directed toward Shoma and the way she acted in the moment, us just trying to be comfortable. not at the accent itself. I want to clearly say that anything related to racism is something that I take very, very seriously, and I'm always careful about what I say or do as to not offend anybody while I make content. I wasn't trying to make fun of anybody or an accent at all. I was just trying to keep the mood light and fun, but I understand how my reaction could have come across differently. And even if I were in that situation, I'd be upset too. And I'm really sorry about that. As someone who actually struggled with accents while learning English and have many friends from many different countries and backgrounds, respecting cultures and accents is very important for me, and it's not something I would ever joke about it lightly, ever. I've actually learned a lot from this, and I'll be more careful and more responsible with my content moving forward. And to anybody who felt uncomfortable or hurt by watching this, I'm truly sorry.
The apology gave a mixed reaction among fans. Some people said it felt fully scripted, like something a PR intern typed out 5 minutes before filming. Others argued she showed zero real remorse, pointing out that she was literally wearing blue contacts while apologizing. To a lot of viewers, the whole thing came off cringe.
This girl is just cringe and annoying. Those contacts are ridiculous.
Blue eye contacts for an apology, lol.
The whole thing came off cringe, overly produced, and more like a content farm moment than a genuine apology.
Like, wow, this apology kind of is terrible, and it's very odd every time you see like an influencer apologize. But I've also lived during the time when Colleen Ballinger sang an apology for talking to underage boys on a ukulele, like she sang a song. So it's almost like we've been trained to expect the worst. And I always expect these influencers, the larger ones, to have teams. And I think that if you're going to issue an apology for anything, like, I understand that there was a time on the internet, and there still is, where people do self-deprecating humors about usually their parents' accent, right? Because it's not your own accent. Usually you don't have the accent. Usually you're making fun of your parents, your own culture. And that's always been tolerated because, you know, people were like, well, it's your own culture. You can, like, say whatever you want to say. So, like, the video with her, for me, it's like, I think if she had been Indian, it would have been, like, slightly better. Not great. I mean, I don't like those type of jokes. I think they're kind of, like, overdone. But that was, like, the biggest issue for me. When she says that she's laughing at, like, the other girl's actions, I think that's what she was implying. Like, oh, like, these type of jokes we've seen before, and it's just, like, funny how people do accents. And I get that. There was a time... We never get, like, normal apologies anymore. Like, why is she wearing those, like, is that alluding to, like, white tears? Is that what she was saying? Like, I don't, why is there blue piercing eyes staring at us? I don't understand that part. And then she's reading something. I don't blame her. Sometimes when I'm looking at the distance, it looks like I don't have anything in the background. But sometimes I have to think about something. Maybe she had something written down, but...
This kind of subtle, everyday mockery is the type of racism that goes undetected, brushed off as jokes, and dismissed until someone finally calls it what it is.
This type of racism is so common, and it always goes so undetected, I guess, or like so just kind of like flies under the radar. And that's why I think she felt so comfortable posting the video, because she didn't really even think anything of it. Like, obviously she thinks Indian accents are funny, because obviously so many people do. So many people don't give a shit about it. So, like, of course she's gonna come on now and feel like racism is a huge accusation, because to her it's like just kind of whatever. Like, everyone makes jokes like these.
One commenter summed up the frustration by saying, "When your platform is that big, I didn't mean it like that, doesn't really cut it anymore." Another creator stitched her apology and said, "Kids watch you. You don't get to pretend what you do doesn't teach them something." It wasn't just about Amy anymore. It was about what happens when influencers with huge platforms treat sensitive cultural topics like casual entertainment. Shoma also put out an apology, saying she grew up in Korea and genuinely believed Indians and Sri Lankans were the same ethnicity. Because of that misunderstanding, she says she copied what she thought was an Indian-style English pronunciation. She admits she now understands how it came across like she was mocking the accent, and she apologized for making people feel disrespected. She added that she genuinely loves India as neighboring country and appreciates the culture, food, and people. insisting she never intended to make fun of anyone. She said the incident taught her how important it is to actually understand other cultures before making content, and that she'll be more careful and thoughtful going forward.
Sri Lankans are the same ethnicity. Because of the misunderstanding, I used Indian-style English pronunciation that was actually based on how Sri Lankans speak. I now realize it looked like I was mocking Indian accent, and I'm really sorry for making anyone feel disrespected. I want to make it very clear, I genuinely love and appreciate India as my neighborhood country, its culture, its food, and its people. I never intended to make fun of or insult Indians in any way. Through this incident, I've learned how important it is to better understand other cultures before I create content. From now on, I will be much more careful and thoughtful so that my videos don't hurt or offend anyone. Thank you to those who pointed out and helped me realize my mistake. I'm really sorry again. Thank you.
Reactions to the apology were mixed. Some people said the whole thing felt like a script pulled straight from ChatGPT, while others pointed out that she suddenly switched to a proper accent in the apology video, which made it feel even less authentic. Right now, Amy hasn't posted anything new. Her comment sections are a mixture of loyal fans, critics, and people who simply want her to address things more clearly. There's pressure from all sides. Some want a better apology, some want her to take a break, some say the whole thing is blown out of proportion. Others believe this is a moment for real reflection. And whether she likes it or not, Amy has become an example of what happens when small jokes collide with big audiences. This will probably follow her for a while, but it could also become a turning point, a chance to show growth, understanding, and the kind of maturity that comes with having influence over millions of young minds. Influencers aren't just entertainers anymore. They're shaping kids. Their jokes become kids' jokes. Their tone becomes kids' tone. Their attitude becomes kids' at. This is why the discussion matters. Not because the video was the most evil thing ever, but because millions of young viewers saw behavior that could easily translate into real-world bullying. It's about how different cultures get treated online, who gets empathy, who gets mocked, who gets defended, who gets told to shut up, and who gets used for engagement. The Amy video didn't create that problem. It just exposed it. Before you laugh at someone's accent, walk a mile with their tongue. Maybe that's the lesson here. Not cancellation, not destruction, not shame, just growth. Amy is young, her audience is younger, and this is a moment where everyone, not just her, gets to learn something. Jokes travel differently when millions are listening. Laughing at an accent is never just a laugh. And the internet doesn't decide what hurts people do. If you've made it all the way to the end, seriously, thanks for sticking with me. This whole situation has way more layers than it seems at first glance. And the fact that you're still here tells me you're the kind of person who actually thinks about these things instead of just scrolling past the drama. I've got a lot more stories, breakdowns, and online deep dives lined up, so if you enjoyed the way we unpacked this one, you'll probably vibe with what's coming next. And hey, if this is my first video you've ever seen, that means you were literally here from day one. Kinda crazy. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.